First contact. Captain Alina Rodriguez gazed through the observation deck's massive viewport at the swirling nebula that stretched before the Hyperion. The massive interstellar vessel, humanity's first true deep space exploration craft, hummed with activity as its crew of 300 prepared for their next stellar jump. Beautiful, isn't it? Commander Sanjay Patel joined her, his dark eyes reflecting the cosmic kaleidoscope outside. Every time, Alina agreed, brushing a strand of silver-streaked hair from her face. 20 years in space and I still can't get used to it. The Hyperion represented humanity's greatest achievement, a 5-kilometer-long vessel powered by experimental quantum fold engines, capable of crossing vast interstellar distances through artificially generated wormholes. Its mission was exploration and scientific discovery in previously unreachable regions of the galaxy. Captain to the bridge, the ship's AI announced through Alina's neural link. Anomalous readings detected ahead. Alina exchanged a glance with Sanjay. So much for our quiet observation period. On the bridge, holographic displays flickered with data streams, as Science Officer Dr. Mei Zhang manipulated the sensor readings with quick hand gestures. What have we got, Dr. Zhang? Alina asked, settling into her command chair. Mei's fingers danced through the holographic interface, some kind of spatial disturbance forming directly in our path, energy signatures unlike anything in our database. Before Alina could respond, the space before them seemed to ripple, as though reality itself was being torn apart. A massive object emerged from what appeared to be a hole in the fabric of spacetime, a ship that dwarfed even the Hyperion. All stop, Alina ordered. Defensive posture but no weapons active, first contact protocols engaged. The alien vessel was breathtaking, 15 kilometers of gleaming, iridescent metal that seemed to shift colors as it moved. No visible propulsion system, no recognizable command structure, but unmistakably a vessel designed by intelligent beings. They're scanning us, Sanjay reported. Non-invasive, seems like they're just curious. Alina nodded. Open all non-classified communication channels. Let them know we come in peace. For 3 tense hours, the two ships hung in space, silently observing one another. The crew of the Hyperion worked feverishly, analyzing every bit of data they could gather about the alien vessel. Finally, May called out, "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's translating itself into our language as it comes through." The bridge's main screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike anything humanity had encountered before. Vaguely humanoid but with iridescent, translucent skin that pulsed with internal light. Its features were delicate, almost crystalline, with large, multifaceted eyes that shimmered with intelligence. "Greetings, travelers," the alien spoke, its voice melodic and soothing. "We are the Luminari. We have been watching your species for some time." Alina stepped forward. "I am Captain Alina Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Hyperion. We come seeking knowledge and peaceful exchange." The Luminari representative, who introduced itself as Sentinel Zerf, explained their mission. The Luminari were guardians, ancient protectors who traveled the galaxy in their massive vessel, the Celestial Aegis, to maintain balance and protect developing species from cosmic threats. "Your species has reached a crucial point in its development," Zerf explained. "You have begun to venture beyond your solar system, but you are unaware of the dangers that lurk in the void." Alina listened intently as Zerf described a predatory species known as the Voidborn, entities that consumed all life energy they encountered, leaving barren worlds in their wake. The Voidborn had been dormant for millennia, but recent stellar disturbances had awakened them. "They are drawn to developing civilizations," Zerf continued, "and your recent quantum fold experiments have attracted their attention." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. "Are we in danger?" "Not immediately, but your home system soon will be. We came to warn you and offer our assistance." After consultation with Earth's governments, an alliance was formed. The Luminari would help fortify Earth's defenses, while the Hyperion would join the Celestial Aegis on a mission to divert the approaching Voidborn threat. The crew of the Hyperion were both excited and terrified when they docked with the Luminari vessel. The interior of the Celestial Aegis defied human comprehension, spaces that seemed to fold into themselves, gravity that shifted directions seemingly at will, and corridors that rearranged themselves as needed. Dr. Zhang almost wept with joy when given access to the Luminari biological archives. "Their evolutionary path is fascinating," she explained to Alina during their nightly briefing. They evolved in a gas giant's upper atmosphere, developing silicon crystal bodies before eventually becoming space-faring. They've been exploring the galaxy for over 50,000 years. But the most surprising discovery came when the human crew encountered the Arxians, small, six-limbed beings with large, expressive eyes and tufts of colorful fur. The Arxians stood barely 30 centimeters tall and scurried through specialized tunnels throughout the celestial aegis. "They're refugees," explained Sentinel Zerf. "Their homeworld was one of the first to fall to the Voidborn. We rescued as many as we could." The Arxians were initially terrified of the humans, hiding whenever they approached. But Alina instituted a new protocol. All crew members were to carry small offerings of fruit or sweets and leave them near Arxian tunnels. Engineer Marcus Chen was the first to make a breakthrough. While repairing a power conduit, he began singing an old Earth lullaby. Three curious Arxians emerged from their tunnel, entranced by the melody. "They communicate primarily through music," Marcus later explained, as a small Arxian named Pip sat contentedly on his shoulder. "Their language is basically songs." Pip and his companions quickly became beloved members of the joint mission. They were brilliant engineers, able to navigate the smallest conduits of both ships, making repairs that would be impossible for humans or Luminari. They had an intuitive understanding of energy systems that even the Luminari found impressive. As the Hyperion and the Celestial Aegis traveled together, Alina and her crew learned more about the threat they faced. The Voidborn weren't a single entity, but a collective consciousness spread across thousands of drone-like organisms. They existed partly in normal space and partly in a dimensional realm humans couldn't perceive. "Think of them as space locusts," Commander Patel explained to the crew, "but locusts that can tear holes in reality." Their first encounter with the Voidborn came near a binary star system. The Luminari sensors detected a swarm of the creatures feeding on the stellar energy, weakening the stars to the point of potential collapse. "If those stars go supernova prematurely, 3 inhabited worlds in nearby systems will be irradiated," Zerf explained grimly. The plan was for the Celestial Aegis to deploy its energy shields to contain the stellar disturbance, while the more maneuverable Hyperion would deploy specially designed quantum resonators, devices created through human Luminari cooperation that could disrupt the Voidborn's dimensional connection. "Remember," Alina told her crew, "these creatures aren't evil, they're following their nature. But we have to protect developing civilizations from their hunger." The mission began smoothly, with the Hyperion deploying its resonators at strategic points around the binary system. But as the devices activated, the Voidborn reacted violently. Swarms of shadowy, writhing forms turned their attention to the human vessel. "Evasive maneuvers," Alina ordered as the first wave struck the ship's shields. The Hyperion shuddered as the creatures began draining energy directly from their systems. Power levels dropped precipitously as the Voidborn fed. "They're adapting to the resonator frequency," Dr. Zhang reported urgently. "We need to modulate the output or they'll neutralize it completely." In engineering, Marcus Chen worked frantically alongside a group of Arxians who had insisted on joining the Hyperion crew. "We need to harmonize the quantum fields, but our computers can't calculate the patterns fast enough." Pip chittered excitedly, his fur standing on end with static electricity. He and the other Arxians began singing, a complex mathematical melody that seemed to shift and evolve with each note. "They're calculating the harmonics," Marcus realized. "Quick, patch their audio into the resonator control systems." As the Arxian song fed into the ship's systems, the resonators began pulsing with new patterns. The Voidborn creatures recoiled, their shadowy forms dispersing as the modulated energy disrupted their feeding. On the bridge, Alina watched in amazement as the creatures retreated. "It's working, push forward with the resonator deployment." The battle for Earths. The quantum fold jump ended with a violent snap back to normal space. The Hyperion and the massive Luminari vessel Celestial Aegis emerged just beyond Mars' orbit, the red planet hanging like a warning beacon in the void. "Status report," Captain Alina Rodriguez demanded, steadying herself against her command chair as the ship's systems recalibrated after the emergency jump. "All systems functional, Captain," Commander Sanjay Patel replied, his hands dancing across the holographic controls. "But that jump strained our fold engines to their limits. We'll need time before we can generate another field." Dr. Mei Zhang's voice was tense as she called from the sensor station. Captain, I'm detecting dimensional anomalies throughout the system. The Voidborn are already here. Alina's blood ran cold as the main view screen displayed the sensor data. Dozens of rift-like tiers in spacetime were forming, particularly concentrated around Earth and the Moon. Through these rifts, shadowy, writhing forms were beginning to emerge, the advanced scouts of the Voidborn swarm. Open a channel to Earth Defense Command, Alina ordered, and get me Sentinel Zerf on the Celestial Aegis. The communication systems crackled with static, a worrying sign. Heavy interference, Captain, reported Communications Officer Liana Ochoa. The rifts are distorting our signals. After several tense minutes, they managed to establish a fragmented connection with Earth. General Katerina Volkov of the United Earth Defense Force appeared on screen, her image flickering. Hyperion were detecting multiple unknown entities entering the system, Volkov stated, her voice breaking up. Our satellites are going dark one by one. What are we dealing with? Alina quickly explained the Voidborn threat and the alliance with the Luminari. General, you need to power down all non-essential energy sources immediately. These creatures feed on energy. The more we broadcast, the more we attract them. Power down during an invasion, Volkov looked incredulous. It's not an invasion as you understand it, Alina explained urgently. They're not here for territory or resources. They consume energy, especially focused energy like our fusion plants and quantum communications arrays. If they drain our power grid, Earth will be plunged into a new dark age. As they spoke, the sensor displays showed the Voidborn concentrating around Earth's major power generation facilities. The Luna Fusion Complex, humanity's largest off-world energy installation, was already under heavy assault, its output fluctuating wildly. We have defenses, General Volkov argued, our orbital platforms. Conventional weapons are useless, Alina interrupted. Energy weapons will only feed them, and physical projectiles pass right through their partially phased forms. The communication suddenly stabilized as the Celestial Aegis extended its advanced communication field to encompass both ships. Sentinel Zerf joined the conversation, the Luminari's crystalline features pulsing with urgency. We have little time, Zerf stated. The Voidborn we encountered at the binary system were merely a small feeding group. This is a primary swarm. The plan came together quickly. The Luminari would deploy their dimensional stabilizers around Earth's most critical infrastructure, power plants, hospitals, water purification facilities, while the Hyperion would coordinate with Earth's defense forces to set up a planetary resonator network based on the technology they had developed. But there's a problem, Dr. Zhang pointed out. Our original resonators worked because the Arxians could calculate the harmonic patterns faster than the Voidborn could adapt. We'd need thousands of Arxians to cover a whole planet. Pip, who had insisted on staying aboard the Hyperion with his small clan of Arxians, chittered excitedly from his perch on Marcus Chen's shoulder. The engineer listened intently, then grinned. Pip says they don't need to be physically present, Marcus translated. If we can broadcast their harmonic calculations through Earth's existing communication satellites, they can coordinate remotely. The next 12 hours were a blur of frantic activity. The Hyperion descended into Earth's upper atmosphere, deploying resonator nodes at strategic points, while the Celestial Aegis positioned itself between Earth and the largest dimensional rifts, its massive shields absorbing the brunt of the Voidborn's feeding attempts. At the same time, engineers from both ships worked with Earth's technical teams to modify the global communications network. The plan was audacious. They would turn Earth's entire satellite network into one massive resonator array, coordinated by Arxian harmonic calculations. Alina found herself in the heart of the European Defense Coordination Center in Geneva, explaining the situation to a roomful of skeptical military and political leaders. You're asking us to entrust Earth's defense to creatures the size of house cats, demanded the Chinese defense minister. The Arxians' mathematical abilities exceed our most advanced quantum computers, Alina explained patiently. Their species evolved to perceive harmonic patterns in ways our minds simply can't process. As if to emphasize her point, the lights in the facility flickered ominously. Outside, the sky had taken on an unnatural purple hue as dimensional rifts expanded in the upper atmosphere. The Voidborn are beginning their main assault, Zerf's voice came through Alina's comlink. We must activate the resonator network now, ready or not. In orbit, the Hyperion had been transformed into the coordination hub for the planetary defense. The ship's central lab had been given over entirely to the Arxians, who had constructed what Marcus Chen could only describe as a singing chamber, a space filled with crystalline structures that amplified and modulated their harmonics. Pip stood at the center of this alien choir, his small form vibrating with intensity as he led his people in a mathematical song of impossible complexity. Their melodies were fed directly into Earth's satellite network, which had been reconfigured to transmit the calculated harmonics as energy pulses. Resonator network at 60% capacity, Commander Patel reported from the bridge. Dimensional rifts continuing to expand. We need more power to the satellites, Alina ordered. If we divert any more from our shields, we'll be vulnerable, Sanjay warned. Alina made a snap decision. Do it. Divert all non-essential power to boost the resonator signal. As the Hyperion's shields thinned, the ship shuddered under the first direct assault from the Voidborn. Shadow-like tentacles of energy-draining matter phased partially through the hull, causing systems to fluctuate wildly. In engineering, emergency containment fields snapped on as atmosphere began venting from breach sections. Hull breach on decks 6 through 8, Marcus reported, his voice strained. The Voidborn are feeding directly on our power core. Reroute emergency power through the Arxian harmonizers, Alina ordered. Let them feed on that energy, but on our terms. It was a desperate gambit. As the Voidborn entities penetrated deeper into the ship, they encountered the energy flowing through the Arxian harmonic systems, energy that had been modulated with the precise frequencies calculated to disrupt their feeding patterns. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The shadow forms convulsed, their semi-solid forms becoming unstable as the harmonized energy interfered with their dimensional phasing. Throughout the ship, the creatures began to withdraw, retreating from the painful harmonics. It's working, Mei Zhang exclaimed from the science station. The harmonic frequencies are forcing them back into their own dimensional space. On the main view screen, they watched as the resonator network reached full power. A visible wave of energy, not destructive but disruptive, spread outward from each satellite, washing over the dimensional rifts. Wherever this energy touched, the Voidborn recoiled, their feeding interrupted. In the Geneva Command Center, Alina and the Earth defense leaders watched in awe as the purple distortions in the sky began to recede. The massive rifts that had threatened to envelope entire cities shrank and destabilized as the Arxian harmonics forced the Voidborn back. My God, whispered General Volkov, it's actually working. For 6 hours, the battle raged across the Earth and throughout the solar system. The celestial aegis moved methodically from one major rift to another, its advanced technology sealing the tiers in reality while the resonator network prevented new incursions. By the time the last rift closed near Jupiter's orbit, the crew of the Hyperion was exhausted but triumphant. The Voidborn had been driven back, their feeding grounds denied to them by the brilliantly calculated harmonics of the tiny Arxians. In the aftermath, humanity found itself in a transformed position in the galaxy. No longer isolated or ignorant of cosmic threats, Earth had become part of a larger community. The Luminari offered formal alliance, sharing defensive technology and cultural knowledge while respecting humanity's autonomy. But the most profound relationship developed between humans and the Arxians. The tiny beings, having lost their homeworld, found kindred spirits in humans. Both species shared a love of music, a fascination with engineering, and a resilience that had allowed them to face overwhelming odds. 1 month after the Battle of Earth, as it came to be known, Alina stood in the Hyperion's main hangar bay, watching as hundreds of Arxians scurried excitedly among the assembled crew. A formal settlement agreement had been reached. The Arxians would establish their first colony since the destruction of their homeworld on Earth, in a specially designed habitat in New Zealand. They're so excited to have solid ground beneath their feet again, Marcus commented, watching fondly as Pip organized his clan members. They've been on ships for over 300 years, Alina replied. Imagine living your entire life knowing your species had no home. The integration would not be without challenges. The Arxians required specific atmospheric conditions and had dietary needs that would necessitate new agricultural developments. But already, collaborative projects were underway. The Arxians' harmonic mathematics was revolutionizing fields from medicine to quantum computing, while human music and art had sparked a cultural renaissance among the refugee species. Most importantly, the Arxians brought with them the knowledge and technology to maintain the resonator network, ensuring Earth would remain protected from any future voidborn incursions. As the formal ceremony began, Alina found herself standing between Sentinel Zerf and Pip, who had been elected as the first Arxian ambassador to Earth. The three of them represented a new alliance, three species united not by conquest or necessity, but by choice and mutual respect. There will be other threats, Zerf warned quietly. The galaxy is ancient and filled with dangers your people have yet to imagine. And we'll face them together, Alina replied firmly. Pip trilled in agreement, the sound translated by the new communication devices developed jointly by human and Luminari scientists. Songs are stronger when many voices join in harmony, the tiny ambassador stated philosophically. 6 months later, the Hyperion prepared for its next mission. The ship had been refitted with Luminari defensive systems and Arxian harmonic technology. Its crew now included 20 Luminari specialists and a full clan of 50 Arxians who had specifically requested to continue exploring with their human friends. On the observation deck, Alina watched Earth recede as they prepared for their first jump with the upgraded quantum fold engines. Beside her stood Sanjay, May, Marcus, and Pip, her core command team, representing three species and countless worlds of difference, yet united in purpose. "Where to, Captain?" Sanjay asked. Alina smiled. The Luminari records show an unexplored sector beyond the Perseus Arm, possible signs of ancient civilizations, and May prompted, and reports of unusual energy signatures that might indicate other refugee species fleeing from voidborn-affected regions, species that might need allies. Pip chirped excitedly, his fur rippling with anticipation. The translator rendered his complex song speech, more voices for the harmony, more friends for the journey. Marcus grinned. "You know, when I signed up for deep space exploration, I never imagined I'd end up as part of a multi-species peacekeeping armada." "We're more than that," Alina corrected gently. "We're not just defenders, we're bridge builders. The Voidborn threat showed us that isolation is no longer an option for any species. We survive together or not at all." As the quantum fold engines powered up and the stars prepared to stretch before them, Alina reflected on how much had changed. Humanity had faced its first true galactic threat and emerged not just intact but transformed. They had new allies, new technologies, and a new understanding of their place in the cosmos. The Hyperion entered the quantum fold, carrying with it the hopes of three species and the promise of new discoveries beyond the stars. Whatever awaited them in the depths of the galaxy, they would face it as they had faced the Voidborn, together, in harmony, as guardians of a cosmos that was proving far more wondrous and dangerous than humanity had ever imagined. As Earth disappeared from view, replaced by the swirling quantum energies of folded space, Pip began to sing. One by one, the Arxians throughout the ship joined in, their mathematical harmonies flowing through the vessel's systems, strengthening the quantum field and guiding them safely through the void. And for the first time, many of the human crew found themselves able to join in, their voices adding new layers to the ancient Arxian travel song, a melody of hope, discovery, and the unbreakable bonds formed between different worlds.